Shelley, those I spoke with along the border say that many are misinformed when assuming that Latinos don't assimilate.
They're asking us to assimilate, but I don't know in what way we haven't.
In the border area of Las Cruces, Guadalupe Rubio and Victoria Lovato are as American as anyone else born in the U.S.
I'm a first generation. College is an assimilation. You can walk around here in New Mexico State. Most of the students will speak English and Spanish.
Rubio and Lovato are proud, not just of being American, but Mexican American.
I like to think about my history, my ancestors, my individual culture, even the culture of my family, because it's different from everyone else. And I think it's important that you carry those things with you because that really is who you are. That's your identity.
Assimilation is the process of adapting or adjusting to the culture of a group or nation. And the question of whether or not Latinos do it is coming up more often. In January, veteran journalist Tom Brokaw said Hispanics should work harder at assimilating. And some residents in New Mexico's Boot Hill agree.
They're coming here waving their flag because obviously they're going to send the money back that they make here, send it back there. And I mean, they're trying to make their country better by taking from ours.
If somebody's coming in to be part of us, they need to accept who we are and become part of the system, not become separate and different.
But an NMSU professor believes that those who don't think Latinos assimilate are misinformed.
People who migrate to this country, no matter where they come from, typically in 1 or 2 generations, they're going to acculturate, they're going to embrace this culture, this society. When I say culture, there's many cultures and many communities throughout this country. And I think Hispanics do a pretty good job of that.
More than 18% of Americans identify as Hispanic or Latino, and 99% of the Latinos who are the grandchildren of immigrants speak English.
It doesn't mean they have different values. It doesn't mean that they don't respect this country or value living in this country. It just means they look and talk a little different, and that's okay.
Mexican Americans like Rubio and Lovato want people to know that they too want what's best for their families.
We are proud of who we are, and I don't want to leave my roots behind in order to become someone they want me to become, because I think the country stands for more than that.
They want what's best for our communities.
Not only are Latinos diverse, not only are they here, but they're contributing to America. We're not a second-rate citizenship. We are working for the same things. We want the same things.
And they too want what's best for the United States of America. So assimilation really just means different things to different people depending on who you're talking to. I mean, only speaking English or even going to college or eating, you know, cheeseburgers versus like burritos can even be an assimilation. It really just depends on the person that you're talking to.
Right, the expectation, depending on who you talk to, is just going to be different. You're right, yeah. Different perspectives, different life experiences, and yeah, but interesting definitely to hear that angle from people,
absolutely.
You know?
And I think another big thing is that, you know, assimilation doesn't just impact Latinos or migrants. It's immigrants and people of all different cultures and backgrounds.
Absolutely. Okay, as always, thank you, Marissa. And we're also looking for community champions. If you know anyone working to bring together people on both sides of the immigration and border debate, please let us know about it. Just send a message to Marissa on her KOAT Facebook page.